Okay, so I finally got everything working the way I want it to on this. The trick was to add a second capacitor, and then also I have to pull the inverting input of the second op-amp slightly up above ground. Now the second capacitor, that's added in series with the first one. When you add capacitors in a series, you decrease the capacitance, however you increase the voltage that the capacitors will output. And basically the reason it wasn't working with only one capacitor is because the input pin on the op-amp requires us to push at least 2 volts. And then in order to pull the other input up off the ground, I've just added another wire coming off of this op-amp, so now I just don't even really have to touch that op-amp for this breadboard. However, what I do need to do at some point is figure out how to wire a pull-up resistor into the output of that op-amp that'll provide it with essentially 2 volts, but not really very much more. So now let's go ahead and turn the circuit on, and I'll show you what's happening. So, and if you were quick and if the camera was good, you might have seen a little flash from the surge from the power supply. But anyway, we start off, the little green LED is off, and what I'm going to do is adjust the potentiometer for the first op-amp, and what will happen here, what did happen before I had the camera turned on, there we go, the light comes on. And it took a little bit. Basically, we had to wait for the capacitors to build up a little bit of a charge. They were sucking the current. And that might be something I could see about avoiding by running the, well, let's see here. Not necessarily. I could see about putting them fully in parallel with the input to the comparator there. But yeah, now we can turn this down. And that's all the way back down, and the capacitor is still on. And the capacitor is going to stay on until, or I'm sorry, the LED is still on, and the LED is going to stay on until these capacitors discharge, and we can get an eye on the discharge rate right there. Oh. Right there. Well, yeah, and there the LED turned off because the capacitance just fell below there, below the other input. So yeah, let's see here. Yeah, that's the let's see here. That that is the non-inverting input there, and we're getting some kind of a wobble. It's probably because I'm touching things. Well, that's a wobble worth investigating. Yeah. There are a couple of different places that could be coming from. But then here, where the capacitors are coming from, yeah, they're staying nice and down there. So yeah, we'll do it again. So, turn the potentiometer up. Capacitors charge. Maybe need to have it up a little further. There we go. Light comes on. Turn the potentiometer back the other direction. Wait for capacitors to discharge. Just to make sure I'm doing it right. There we go. Yeah, about the time I lose my patience and want to check it, hey, it's done. Okay, so yeah, this works pretty well. And honestly, yeah, I could, what I'm supposed to have is a thermistor instead of this potentiometer. I probably am going to need to figure out something to do about this transistor here, because this is only pushing 1 volt. That's not going to work to drive a motor, okay? I'm going to have to find, I'm probably going to end up having to use some kind of a MOSFET or something in there to drive this motor. And then let's see here. right now, yeah, this potentiometer and this thermistor, I'm both, well, they're both connected in the same place. So yeah, the connection that's running from the potentiometer here into this op amp should be taken out. I should really just get a thermistor on the board and start playing with that the proper way, and then gauging on what's going on. And then I'll be able to take my second potentiometer, the one that's supposed to be in here properly, and get that in place. And what that's supposed to be is that's supposed to be for a set point, to gauge how long the light's going to stay on. And right now, this transistor right here, the LED is kind of standing in place of that. So the next thing I'm going to want to do with this is pull out a thermistor, get it on the breadboard, get the voltage dividing resistor in there, and see about further developing this.